Oh, wow. We're live streaming.
Yes.
Cool. Where are we live streaming? Where does it go?
All of our socials are our Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Cool. Okay. Live TV.
Yes. So we'll give it a few minutes.
Okay. Welcome, everyone who's joining us. This is the, I think we're calling it like effectively growing your audience, effectively growing your blog and marketing your blog or something.
Yes.
Like that. Well, yeah.
Yes, how to grow and market your blog. Yes.
One of the things that for people who like usually see me present, I am not in my home today. I'm at one of my clients. This is my law firm client, which is why I'm in like a cool chair. And I was showing Michelle, like, look at this setup, guys. Like I've got like 4 computers today and my puppies aren't here. So that's a bummer.
Well, we might have my cat walk through the back, so we'll have that at least.
Okay, at least that would be cool.
We'll have at least one pet feature, hopefully.
Yeah, my puppies usually crash my webinars and like shred toilet paper and bark and do all sorts of things. So it's going to be kind of weird to not have them.
Not have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever my cat hears me talking, he assumes I'm speaking to him. So anytime I start a meeting or anything, he wakes up and comes over.
Funny. So while we're waiting, I'm going to put a few links in the, I'm going to put a few links in the chat. I don't know, Michelle, if you're going to put any links, but I'm going to put a link obviously to my blog in case anybody wants to go check out the blog, but also I'm going to put a link to link in with me if you are not linked in with me, and also a link to my email sign up. And that, if any of you have not heard of my Women Who Wow program, there is, I do lots of programs for women. It's part of my blog actually, and I'm going to put a link to my blog here. And you'll be able to see it. Social media, it's just a social media butterflyblog.com. And the Women Who Wow program is a lot of different profiles of women in the legal industry and also pro-free programs. So if you want to sign up for that, it is all there. And that is something that kind of just developed, and LexBlog helped me build that out. And so I'm excited because we're actually going to be redeveloping my blog soon and building it to a whole new level.
Yes. All right. We'll give it like one more minute. I'll say at 10:03 we can go ahead and get started. Just give some more people a chance to come in or be scrolling on their Twitter and see us talking. And
okay, cool. And tell me, I can share my screen whenever you want, but I thought I'd wait until you do.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I see a lot of names of people I know. So hi guys. So good to see. I see Lee and Jennifer Green. Hi guys.
All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and get started now. I'm sure more people will filter in, but yeah, so just a quick introduction. My name is Michelle Newblom. I'm the editor here over at LexBlog. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and welcome to March's LexBlog Learns webinar, which is a special one because obviously here it is hosted by one of our community's most prominent bloggers, Stefanie Marrone. So for those of you who don't know, Stefanie is a frequent conference and webinar speaker on social media and marketing related topics. So she to host today's webinar. She advises law firms of all sizes, professional service firms, legal tech and B2B companies, and individuals on a full range of marketing and business development consulting services. But on top of that, she also runs and publishes the Social Media Butterfly, which, yes, she dropped the link in the chat. You can go ahead and check it out. She gives her expert insights on social media, business development, branding, content marketing, networking, and marketing trends. So without further ado, yeah, we'll let you take the floor, Stefanie, and go ahead and get started.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks, LexBlog. So this blog has been around now for 3 years, and I do publish quite a bit. People say all the time, like, how do you have time to blog? I was a writer, just so you guys know, before I became a legal marketer, and writing is a great outlet for me. And Kevin O'Keefe, who many of you know, who's the founder of LexBlog, said to me years ago, you need a place to put all of your content, and it needs to live somewhere. And I was like, I don't know. Who cares what I have to say? And he was like, people do. And he talked me into doing this. And I'm so glad that he did. And it's really grown. And I'm really excited. You know, one of the things you have to remember when you blog is that you actually need to make a commitment to doing it. Like, you can't, just like with LinkedIn, and you guys hear me talk about LinkedIn quite a bit, you can't just post on LinkedIn once a month and expect to be successful at it. These are things that you have to do with cadence and with commitment, but you can be incredibly successful doing these things. And so I'll also tell you that for my blog, if anyone is interested in writing and they don't have a blog, I have guest contributors on my blog. So if you want to reach out to me and write for my blog, I'm happy to have you do that. Just message me. I've got a couple links in here. Like I said, a link to my blog, a link to link in with me, and then also a link to sign up to my Women Who Wow group, and also my email list. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and Michelle, if you could just let me know that you can see this when it comes up. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
All good.
Great. So if you guys have questions, I'm going to save them until the end. So just put them in the chat if you want, or the Q&A. If I don't get to things, you obviously can reach out to me afterward as well. I'm going to go through a lot of different things today, and I will be writing, obviously, an article about this on my blog. So again, follow the blog. Okay. So just for those of you who don't know who I am, I mentioned I was a writer before I started becoming a legal marketer. I was a magazine writer, and I had a love of, a love of writing for a long time. I thought I'd be a journalist. I wound up becoming a legal marketer and writing a lot, and I worked at all these different firms. And today I am a consultant to mid and small law firms and legal service providers. I'm right now, actually, I was saying before many of you joined, that I'm actually in one of my law firm offices. So if a lawyer comes in my office, don't mind them, but I also won't have my puppies with me today. Okay, so this is obviously a lot of firms at which I've worked, and I've done a lot of law firm blogs. So before I had my own blogs, I was producing blogs, working with LexBlog and other companies to help lawyers produce content. And a lot of times it was producing client alerts, and that morphed into blogs. So we're going to talk about all of these things. And before we had blogs, we had client alerts. Before we had client alerts, we had newsletters that we were back in the day mailing out. So the world has changed, and so do we. Okay, so this is just a quick little tip. I've shown this before, but for those of you who want to connect with me very easily, this is a link to my LinkedIn QR code. This would be something I would just recommend that all of you add to your presentations going forward. And for those of you who are who present and who are marketing yourselves, I would add this to any presentation or pitch materials that you do. And so you can find this in the LinkedIn app on your Android or your mobile device. And this is just at the very top at the search bar. If you put your finger at the search bar, you'll get a little QR code on the right-hand side, and you click on that and you'll be able to then see your QR code and either see yours or scan someone else's. And so it's very easy to do it. Just save it to your phone. And so if you hold up your phone to mine, you can do this. If you're speaking virtually or in person, it works. And I think it's just a great little tip. So I will be giving you guys some tips like this throughout the presentation. So this is a look at my blog. I pulled the URL and just the header. And like Michelle said, this is what my blog covers. There are a number of sections on my blog. My blog is actually turned into my website, which happens quite a bit. And actually, my blog is undergoing a facelift, and it's going to be turned into more of a microsite, which is something that LexBlog does, which is great. And I use it for basically my website, which is terrific. So this is the URL. You guys can check it out. I want to mention a couple things because I will be talking about LinkedIn today as it relates to your blog. You definitely want to promote your blog through LinkedIn because LinkedIn is such a powerful social media platform. The blog and LinkedIn have incredibly high domain authority with Google and other search engines. So I want to show you guys something with regard to contact info and then also your bio. So if you guys can see that little picture on the right-hand side, that is a look at my LinkedIn bio. And something that has changed recently is that you can now put URLs, hot URLs that are clickable in your LinkedIn bio. You can't see them in the desktop version, even though you can enter them in the desktop version, but you can see it on your mobile device. So you guys see at the bottom here how I have with the Women Who Wow program, learn more at the social media butterfly blog /Women Who Wow, and then I have a link to my blog. You can do this, guys, with any URL. So like, you know, your regular firm website, a link to your bio. But if you have a blog, you should absolutely put it in your LinkedIn bio. And this has been rolled out recently. LinkedIn doesn't send an email or a notification when they make these changes, but this has recently just happened. So this is a great place to promote your blog, right in the body of your LinkedIn profile bio, okay? And for those of you who don't have all-star status for your LinkedIn profile, it's oftentimes because you don't have an about section filled in. So put that in there, put this in there. And again, you won't be able sometimes to see the hot URL appear in your desktop version, but you will on your mobile device. Okay, so any questions about that? Again, just reach out to me, put it in the chat. I hope that makes sense. One of the other things that's really important to do right off the bat on LinkedIn and any other social platform you have, if you have multiple URLs, which many of you do, okay? So like if you are a lawyer and you want to direct people probably to your website bio, you know, that is problematic on every other channel on social media except for LinkedIn, because LinkedIn gives you 3 URLs that you can include in your contact section, okay? So you guys see here how I have 2 included here. I have a link to my website, which is my blog. That's the Social Media Butterfly blog. And then I have a link to my link tree. Many of you need to have a link tree. So the image on the right is my link tree. Link tree is essentially one URL from which many different links can hinge. So you'll see here, I have a link to various social media and other URLs. And so I've got my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Instagram, my YouTube channel, my Women Who Wow, which is on my blog. Follow the Social Media Butterfly blog. Sign up for my email list. Some articles. If I was having a webinar, I might have that at the top. Linktree is free. Linktree enables you to get away with putting multiple URLs where you only have one. So for Twitter and Instagram, you only get one URL. And if you have to choose, you're probably going to choose your web bio or your website. For those of you, by the way, who are bloggers, you don't want to have to choose. So do this, put a link tree and then put your blog at the top and put your bio up at the top as well. So I hope that makes sense, but you'll see here at the very least on LinkedIn, you want to make sure you have your website URL that goes directly to your bio, not necessarily the homepage of your law firm website. I would have it go to your bio, and then I would put a link to your blog, okay? So that would be my tip. And I have an article on how to create a link tree on my blog, obviously. And I hope this makes sense. I'll take questions on this later if you have questions. And it's free, which I love. Okay. So one of the things to think about is that there really are, I consider, 5 essential marketing activities for professional service firms. And they are networking, and it's a combination of online and in person, which we've done much more in online over the last 2 years since the pandemic. There's speaking, there's writing, trade association participation, and then social media. Okay, so obviously blogging falls within writing, although speaking, I think, is part of blogging, because every time you speak, you should be writing a blog post about it or something, okay? A social media post. If I go and I speak at a conference, I'm gonna write 5 takeaways. If I attend like something like today, You guys could write a blog post about 3 things that you learned from today's webinar. Hopefully you'll find 3 things that you learned. That sort of thing is key, okay? So if you think of every activity that you do as a potential, for a marketing, for publicity, you'll be in a really great place. And so one of the things I find most people, they just don't do that, right? Or they write something and they don't publicize it. And we're going to talk about that today and how to maximize every second that you're spending not billing and writing an article, which takes time. Or, by the way, speaking, creating a CLE presentation takes a long time. Why not turn that into a blog post or a client alert? And by the way, a long client alert can be turned into a blog post as well, right? So all of these things, your participation in a trade association is also potentially content that could be a blog post, all of these things. The problem is, I find with most professional service individuals, lawyers, marketers, we don't do ourselves justice by publicizing the things that we do, or we feel uncomfortable by doing it. Some people have no problem doing it. Those are the people who write online, you know, I'm humbled and honored to receive X award, blah, blah, blah. Other people are so busy that they forget it, or they think if they write it, it'll be out there in the universe and that's all they need to do. And that's not right. You actually have to market it. You also can't rely on your marketing team to do all the work for you because they have other responsibilities. So if you work at a 200 lawyer firm, a 500 lawyer firm, you don't necessarily have the opportunity to utilize your marketing team just for you. You have to be your most strongest and staunchest advocate for marketing, okay? Why do we blog? Okay, we blog and we write because it helps us stay top of mind with our clients, referral sources, prospects, and it positions our firms and our lawyers as thought leaders. That's why. It's a great way to check in with people. Nobody likes to get those check-in emails. Hey, Jim, just checking in, just seeing how things are. Content is the most important calling card for doing that, right? You can say, you know, and also I would say webinars as well. You know, I want to let you know I'm doing this webinar on developments in patent law, or I wrote an article about developments in the small claims court and the copyright small claims court. Okay, that's a much better way to check in with someone than versus just checking in. No, there's nothing really to write about that. Okay, educational content is so important, but you have to promote it, and this is an investment in you. When people say why, that's what you say. Okay, so I'm not going to talk a ton about tips for writing, but I will just give you this slide that just, I find so many lawyers and type A people, which most of us are, fall into this content paralysis trap where we tinker with things and then we never get them out the door. And when it comes to blogs and client alerts, time is of the essence. So publish while the topic is timely. Publish while you gotta just, good is good enough. I tell people all the time, your good is good enough. Always write in your client's language. Most of your clients are not actually lawyers. So you want to stay away from the legalese, the defined terms, the quotation marks, the pursuant to, and all of those things, and the weird capitalizations. Those don't belong in blog posts, okay? Write short, concise headlines that quickly get to the point. Okay, I'm going to talk about headlines in a little bit, and the first few lines of your blog post, that is key to getting people to even want to read it. Most people aren't reading anything you write in word for word. They're skimming content. They're reading it on their phones. They're busy. They are not actually digesting it. So you have to capture their attention. The headline is key for this, the first 3 lines. And most people do not want you to write a recap of a law or something that happened in the news. They can get that from Reuters. They can get that from Bloomberg. I see, you know, I oftentimes will fight back with some of my clients and say, listen, I don't think we should publish this alert, this blog post, because it doesn't really give our take on it. That's my number one issue when I see lawyers write content, is that they don't actually provide a vantage point, a viewpoint that helps them showcase what they do and what they bring to the table. yes, there are times where you want to distill a complex legal issue and explain what it means, but it is more important to talk about what it means for your clients and why it is important. Okay, so 5 things you need to know about X, why this is important, the implications of X. Okay, and if you want to start with some background info, that's great, but that can't be the body of your entire blog post or alert. Okay, you want to get to the point, and then you want to not waste their time with a ton of background information. And you want to explain, again, position yourself as to what you bring to the table uniquely as a lawyer or a subject matter expert. That's the difference between a good alert and a good blog post and a great one. Okay, it's not just regurgitating the news, it is putting your take on it. That is what I find most lawyers do not do in blog posts. Okay, one of the other things I encourage you to do, and Google will enable you to do this very easily, is to regularly track what your competitors are writing about and then ask yourself how you can do it better. So you can do this in so many ways, not just Google. You can also follow your competitors on LinkedIn, follow their company pages, sign up for their newsletters. Who cares if they know you're on their newsletter list? I think it's actually a good thing because then they know you're watching them, right? So go and sign up for their blogs. All of these things are important. JD Supra, the content syndicator, we'll talk about why it's important to have a content syndicator in a little bit as well, if you want to build an audience for your blog. So I always look at what other firms are writing so I can tell my clients how to do it better. And also, absence is not a good thing sometimes, right? So sometimes people will say to me, why should we write about it when our competitors wrote about it or the bigger firms wrote about it? The reason is your clients care what you have to say on an issue and they're waiting for you to write about it. They also want to know why you're not. You also want that calling card, that touch point. You want to be able to go to them and say, we wrote about this. I had a client recently send another law firm's alert to one of their clients on an issue. And I said, I cannot believe you did that. That is probably the biggest sin I've ever seen a firm make. And it was a competitor. Why would you give that other firm any sort of publicity, right? Write the alert yourself. Do not ever send another firm's alert to your clients under any circumstance. I don't know if you guys agree with me. Put in the chat if any of you've ever seen that, but I was like, that is like a humongous no-no. Okay, so and you can set this up again, Google searches. You can do this. Follow the LexBlog community. There are searches there, the JD Supra, sign up on the RSS feeds, look at their websites, so many different ways. Okay, so a lot of people say, if you build it, they will come. And like, oh, we have a blog, we want to make a blog, we have an app, we have a LinkedIn company page. No, not necessarily. So this is from the great Kevin Costner Field of Dreams movie, which they did actually come, but that's a movie, guys. In real life, no, you actually have to market what you're doing. And for the most part, most blogs don't have a steady stream of followers. Most people in our industry, like it's not like legal blogs are like hot topics, to be honest. And there's a ton of law firms, a ton of law firm blogs, a ton of saturation in the market. And so for your blog to stand out, it's not enough to be a great firm. It's not enough even to have a good content. You actually have to market what you're writing and you have to be creative about it. And most blogs have a very low subscriber rate, even from the top firms. And this is also why I think small and mid-sized firms, so those of you who are at those small and mid-sized firms, have a huge opportunity to actually do better than big firms who think that just because they have a great name on the door means that their content is going to be read by the masses, which isn't necessarily true. I see small firms all the time do great things and get tons of publicity and clients through their blogs because they're actually spending the time to market their blogs. Okay, so this is me saying, yeah, no. Writing great content doesn't mean your blog will be successful. It takes work to build an audience. And actually, my blog doesn't have a ton of followers either. What gets me the followers and the publicity on my blog and the readership is that I promote my blog through various channels that we're going to talk about. The good thing is that the bar is so low in our industry when it comes to almost everything with regard to marketing. This gives you huge opportunity. Most firms, again, will just say we want a blog, create the blog, and then that's it. And that is not good marketing, right? And I think that you definitely want to be proactively doing this. And by the way, again, there's a responsibility on the part of a marketing team. If you have a small marketing team, yeah, it's a little tricky. If you don't have a dedicated marketing person, yes, of course. But the onus is also on the authors. You can't just write the article and expect the marketing team to do everything. The authors are responsible as well. If you are authors on here, you have a responsibility to use your network, use your email, your connections, your LinkedIn network to promote your blog content. And I hope we do have a lot of authors themselves on this. And I hope that those of you who work with lawyers will show this webinar and some of the tips from this to get them to encourage them to do this. And also explain that because there aren't a lot of people doing this, the benefits and the ROI is going to be massive on this, okay? I see some of the comments here in the questions. I will talk about the cadence of posting in a little bit because it really just depends. So, and there will be some materials available afterward. Okay, so you have to increase blog traffic and increase more readers to your blog. Well, I'm going to talk about Google. I'm going to talk about a bunch of things, but you have to focus on blog promotion. And this, you need to obviously send emails and do social media posts, but there's more to it. Okay. I think a content syndicator is incredibly important. And by the way, LexBlog does a ton for us as a network. Those of you who are in the LexBlog network, they are publishing for us. They are releasing the content out. JD Supra is a content syndicator. There are other ones, Mondac, the National Law Review, Lexology. That is also a very good place. If you are struggling to get an audience for your client alerts and your blog posts, that is a place I would very highly recommend that you consider. Because it puts your content in the hands of people who wouldn't see it otherwise. Okay, so that would be something I would very much recommend that you do. There are, like I said, a lot of obviously blogs out there in a saturated market, and your goal is to get people to stop the scroll when it comes to your content. One of the things you can do is write often. Okay, so everyone says, what is the rule about how often you should write? How often should you publish content? Okay, so I have had to talk people out of starting a blog when they told me they would only post once a month. You can't have a blog and post once a month, just like you can't be successful on LinkedIn and post once a month either. I post very often on my blog. I am probably one of the few people who do that. I think you have, but I'm going to say this. I want to have a qualifier to this. I would much rather you post very good content than post mediocre content more often. So there is a trade-off here, okay? The trade-off is that you should at least post 2 times a month, so every other week, a post or 2. I would prefer you post 1 post a week to get regular traction and to make some of the other tools that you're buying worth it. If you're going to invest in a blog and spend the money with LexBlog, spend the money with JD Supra, it's not worth it if you're not producing regular content. That's it. Once a month, you're not going to get the traction. Same thing with a podcast. If you're going to do a podcast once a month, it's not worth it because people will forget about it. Okay, you have to have regular content. Now, there are ways to get around this because if you already have, when you start a blog, you can repurpose things you already have. You can also, once you have the blog, you can update posts. So you're never, ever starting from scratch. Guest contributors, updating older posts, all of those things will help you. And Google gives high priority to blogs with fresh content. So one of the things I do, I've been blogging for 3 years now. I go once a month and I go to my old posts from 2018 and it's actually 4 years now, I guess, and I update some of those posts because those posts will do better when I update them, okay? That's something to consider as well. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You also can take a post from 3 years ago and repost it with a new image, with updated text and a new headline, and you have a new piece of content. You don't want to post the exact same thing again. Google doesn't like that. It sees it as repetitive content and will actually ding you. You want to change it up a little bit, okay? I'll get into this in a minute. It's very important for law firms and any companies we have on here and any individuals to do this as well. Create an editorial calendar. Assign people responsibilities. Create a team and show people what's in it for them, okay? So people don't want to be bothered. I'm working with a law firm right now and the associates, listen, we're in the great resignation right now. People are busy. They're overworked. A lot of times people are trying to hire associates and they can't. And the last thing people sometimes want to do is also write. Sometimes there are people who really want to write, and that's great. I have a few words on this. Number one, you got to show people what's in it for them. Show them success stories of other people. Show them how it helps their Google search results. Show them examples of how some people have gotten new business from blog posts, from blogging, or speaking engagements. I can't tell you how many new opportunities I've gotten from people reading my blogs. When you Google me and certain topics, I show up on the first page of Google. There's no better, I can't give you a better example than that, right? Your lawyers are having trouble, like your firm, your lawyers are having trouble showing up on the first page of Google and you don't want to spend money on Google ads. Blogging is going to help you, okay? In a crowded market, 1,000,000% if you know how to do it. Associates, this is I think it's also great for lateral, when you're trying to court laterals in associates, show them they've got opportunities to write and to build their brands, show people you invest in them. Give people reasons to do this, make it tied. Some firms have a billable time associated with marketing. Make this part of their compensation if you really want people to do it. And don't put, some firms will put the same darn lawyers on the same darn alerts, even if they didn't write it. Don't do that all the time. I understand that you want to partner on every alert or every blog post. Okay. But if an associate writes the alert, give them authorship credit. Make it Jim Smith and Stefanie Marrone. Okay. You've got to empower people, put them on your social feeds, as being the author of that alert. You've got to, times have changed, guys, and people will not do the work for you if you don't make them feel that they are valued and that they are getting the credit for doing it. Okay, so all of these things, you've got to show people what's in it for them, though. And an editorial calendar will keep you on track. I have regular editorial meetings with my clients once a month at least, and I hold people accountable. I put dates in their calendars. That works. I make people schedule time to write as well, treating it like billable time. And if your leadership is not invested in this, then they shouldn't even be having a blog. Practice groups can't, get the budget to do the blogs if leadership isn't also going to tell people that they need to do them. Okay, just like you got to get your time in, you got to also do the blogging. Okay, let's go through some best practices for the blogs themselves. Using compelling images are a great way to get people to read your blogs and also will help you when you post it on social. Not only does a photo make a post more visually appealing, but including keywords in your alt image tag on the photo boosts your SEO. So many people don't do this. Okay, number one, you can't just take an image from Google and put it on your blog. I see people do this all the time. That's, we're lawyers. We know better than that. I use Canva.com, Canva.com for all of my images. You can use Pixabay, you can use a couple other PicStitch. There's a couple other websites that have free licensed images. What I like about Canva is that I can put text on my images, I can resize it, I can do lots of different things. I put a custom image with everything. I will show you guys my blog in a minute and how I do this. And then I put multiple images in my blogs because it also really helps people. It keeps people's attention. One of the things I don't ever see people really do is to include keywords in the alt image tag and also name the images appropriately. Do any of you do this with your blogs? And if you want to put in the chat, put in the Q&A, I'd love to know. This is a huge tip that will help your SEO, okay? If you just save an image, like, especially if you're doing it on your phone, like, and it just comes in as like a bunch of gobbledygook, like DS497P7, it will not help you at all. You have to save your image strategically. If I'm writing a post on LinkedIn tips for beginners, I am going to save my image with that same headline or something, a keyword like that. I am going to put that in the alt tag section and the title of my image, okay? Do you guys want me to show you how to do that? There are places on the web where you can figure out like what the right alt tags are. And in LexBlog, we also have a tool built in, an SEO tool that helps us as well. I can show you guys how to do this, but this is a very important tool. It also is going to help with accessibility as well, okay? I will go through this in a little bit. Focus on your headlines. The titles for your blog posts are just as important as the content itself, and they help people decide whether they're going to read it. Also, the way you structure your posts is almost as important as what you write. I say this about LinkedIn all the time as well. You need to have tons of white space section headers as well. And many of us have the ability to do read more. So you can like truncate your post and then people have to click on it to read more. Do that when a post is very long so that when someone is looking at the homepage of your blog, they can see lots of different headlines. You don't want them to see just like that one very, very long post. People ask me also the length of a post and how long it should be. Sometimes people say post should be long, a long form content is better. I have not, I think some of your posts should be long, some of them, some people say Google, those posts do better. I find my posts that are 800 words do just as well as my posts that are 2,000 words. It depends on the content. It depends on keywords as well. I'm going to talk about keywords in a minute. I think if you try different things, you have to look at your Google Analytics, guys, as well. If you're not, you're creating content with blinders on and in a vacuum, and you can't do that. So I encourage you to try different things and see what works. You also need to use inbound and outbound links in your posts, which I will get to in a minute. There is no secret sauce or formula. You have to try a variety of different things. On-page SEO is so important. And I feel like this isn't something that's necessarily taught to us, and it changes every year. Okay, so what is on-page SEO? All of this, by the way, is built into our LexBlog backend, which is WordPress. Your blog should, in my opinion, always be on WordPress. Page titles. So the blog page title is the first element people notice on your blog. Make sure you use a target keyword, and that this is already done for us, okay? Subheadings. The purpose of subheadings is to make content scannable. So that's what I was saying about if you have content that, like, let's say I'm writing about patent law and I have like a bunch of different sections, why not just break it up with a section header, and then people's eyes can go different places. I always tell people to do this with a bio as well. Like if somebody practices intellectual property law and they practice patent, trademark, and copyright, do section headings for each of those areas so that people's eyes know where to go and they can go exactly where they want to. Content, it's one of the most important search ranking factors. So you want to include keywords, and you can find keywords. There are different tools. SEO Rush helps you do this. SEM Rush. You want it to be organic. You don't want to just fill in keywords that seem, inauthentic. If I was writing about this topic, like blogging best practices, I would use the word blogging best practices for law firms. I would use that term at least 2 to 3 times throughout my post, okay? And using a clean URL with a keyword will improve your SEO as well. So when you are naming your post, so when you're writing your title, the title of your post is going to be your URL, the headline. So be very strategic about what you choose there. Also, your meta description is one of the most important things you can fill out. I oftentimes use the first paragraph of my post. Sometimes it doesn't work. This is, so this shows up in Google under the title of the page, under the article. And you want to boost the click-through rate, you're going to want to use some target keywords. And so this should really be like a synopsis of what the article is about with keywords. And like I said, always use alt text for pictures to help the search engine crawlers understand your images, and it helps with accessibility. It also can help Google. I find sometimes my blog images show up in Google Images too, because I use the right alt text. Okay. Just another word about keywords. They're at the heart of your SEO, and ensure that you have a keyword strategy on your blog. So you're going to choose a key phrase. It can't be something too general like law, that is way too general. And you want to put that phrase in the title of the post, and then feature it at least 2 times in the image and also in the links. Okay. Outbound links. Okay. Google loves outbound links on your site. So outbound links are links to other people's websites. Okay. And if they're tracking their Google Analytics, they're going to see this too, and maybe reciprocate for you. So I also sometimes let people know when I've linked to them. So let's say I am linking to an article on another person in my industry's blog. Okay. Let them know, and they very often will do it back for you, but it will help them, and it also will help boost your SEO. Okay, obviously never do this for another law firm under any circumstances, but you catch my drift. So like if you want to include like a link to an SEC document, or like let's say PLI, like if you're speaking at a PLI conference, or the New York Intellectual Property Lawyers Association, or something like that, right? Like those are good outbound links. Inbound links are really great too. This is a great direct way to provide access to more content on your website, on your blog. So look at my example here. So you see those hyperlinks. This is an article I wrote on my blog, and I have 2 other links to articles on my blog. Okay. What it does is keep people on your blog and give people other articles to read. And it could lead to them just following you more, becoming more interested in your content. I make them as natural as possible. I always try to do this in my blog posts. It takes more time to do, which is why you need a team and need a strategy for doing this. I keep a running list of like evergreen content and evergreen posts to which I can link. And I try to do this with every one of my blog posts if I can. Now, sometimes I'm too busy and I don't do it, but I go back and I do it later on, which doesn't hurt. This is very good for your SEO. So this is inbound links, guys, or links to other articles on your blog. Okay. And you should do that. Always include a call to action at the end of your post and make it easy for people to follow you. Include social sharing buttons for major social networks and make it easy for readers to spread the word about your content. Okay. Include links to follow you on other platforms in every single post. So you guys see at the bottom here, every single blog post of mine, I include a link to follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube. I have Twitter sometimes, and sign up for my email newsletter. Please tell me you're going to go do this. If you take away nothing from my presentation today, I hope you'll take this away. I don't know why people don't do this. Can you guys put in the chat that you'll do this? Are you guys doing this? And keep this like in a running document. I keep it like on my desktop in a sticky note, and I have it at all times so I can just put it right in my blog post. I get tons of signups to my email newsletter and my LinkedIn profile as a result. Okay, are you doing this? Will you do it? It's a good tip, right? You guys got to do this. And also you guys see on the blog, if you have a LexBlog blog, and most WordPress blogs will enable you to do this, there's social sharing buttons. You can email the article, you can tweet it, you can do Facebook, you can do, share on LinkedIn. I see some blogs that actually like you can tweet out like a piece of content, which I think is so cool. I wish my blog did that. Hey, LexBlog, can you make that happen for me? That's my wish list. Guest contributors, guys, is a great tip. And I oftentimes will ask people to write a blog post for me. And you know what winds up happening? They'll promote my blog in kind. The Women Who Wow program for me on my blog has been so successful because it links back to me and links back to my other offerings. And so I feature people all over the industry. It wasn't the ad, I want to feature other people. I'm so invested in women, but the added benefit is that people then can read content about me. So if you can become a destination on your blog for other content and feature other people, your blog is golden. So find something, feature other people, find guest contributors. I oftentimes will see great articles on LinkedIn that I'll say, can I republish this on my blog? And I think that's just like another great tip, okay? So I hope you'll do that. And then guys, you can easily embed videos in blog posts, which increases the dwell time. So this is a video I put, so I have a YouTube channel. I just click the share link on YouTube. I embed the video so easily into WordPress on my LexBlog blog, and the video appears there. And I'm also gaining visitors to, I'm gaining traction on my YouTube channel. So videos are a great thing to add to your blog posts that will very much help with engagement. So if you can, I encourage you to add them. You can also, by the way, speaking of, like, I love repurposing content, turn blog posts into video content. And I very often will take a blog post and then write a short video about it. And so, and vice versa, you can turn a video into a blog post. So like the possibilities are endless here. I can't encourage you enough to use email marketing to promote your blog content. So you can, number one, set up an email digest through LexBlog. Did you guys know you can do this? I have mine set up weekly. You can do bi-weekly, you can do daily. I think weekly is just fine. Depending on the cadence of how much you post, you'll want to update this. It's so easy. It makes a beautiful looking email, and then it includes blog posts to past blogs that you've had. I also have an email newsletter, and I put links to my blog posts through that because, again, you got to hit people in different directions, okay? So if do you guys want me to show you how to do an email digest through LexBlog? I can. And then also create an email newsletter is so easy to do. I use MailChimp personally. The other thing I want you all to do is be an early adopter of LinkedIn newsletters. So some of you may subscribe to my LinkedIn newsletter. You have to turn on creator mode. It recently was something that got rolled out. It's not rolled out to company pages yet, but it will be. You can send out a LinkedIn newsletter to every single connection you have on LinkedIn, guys, the first time you do it. I got 3,000 subscribers to my LinkedIn newsletter. By the way, if you're not subscribing to my LinkedIn newsletter, you should. And what I do is put some of my blog posts in there, and I link to my blog for the full thing. So I put it 3 lines, and then for more, got to read it on my blog. Direct people to your blog, okay? This is incredibly useful, and it's another way to reach your contacts, and most people aren't using it, which means you should, okay? So 3 things you can do. Number 1, your LexBlog email digest, okay? Which is free to all of us who have a LexBlog blog. Create an email newsletter, and then 3, an email newsletter. Sorry, a LinkedIn newsletter, okay? How many of you are gonna do these things? Will you do them? Do it, try it. I have a blog post on how to do all of these things, and they're very easy to do. Okay, one of the other things you can do, like I mentioned, if you're like, oh, I don't have enough blog content, repurpose your past content and update blog posts. You can turn a blog post into, look at all these things, guys, videos, audiograms, podcasts, case studies, ebooks, online course content. I'm working on an online course right now, and I'm taking some of my podcasts. I'm also launching a podcast, and I'm turning my blog posts into podcast and online course content, and of course, long form content. I can take 4 short blog posts and turn them into a long form article. Brilliant, right? Easy. Let your content work harder and smarter for you. Go through what you have already. One of the first things I do with clients is we look at all of the assets they have. Even alerts, client alerts from 2018, 2009, evergreen posts, guys. Why you need a will, why you need to be on LinkedIn. Go and look for those posts. You can repurpose those over and over again. Refreshing old content, like I mentioned, is something that will help you. Put in new information, detailed, you got to change it up a little bit in order for the Google police to not ding you, and expand on your previous content, change the headline as well. Numbered list posts, guys, do really well. So 5 reasons to start posting on LinkedIn today. 5 reasons to have a blog. 3 things to do or 3 things not to do. Okay, those posts do great. Also, how to post, how to not suck on blogging. Don't write that one, but you catch my drift, right? Okay, jump on your own bandwagon. Keep the, so you got to look at your Google SEO results. Everybody has access to your search engine console, and you should be looking at this. And LexBlog can help get you set up for this. And you should look to see what content did well and what didn't. Again, you're operating in a vacuum if you're not. And then you could write additional content. I do part 1, part 2, part 3 of content that does well. Please also do this. If this is, again, if you take away nothing from my presentation, do this. Look at my email signature. If you have a blog, put your blog in your e-signature. Also, put a link to your LinkedIn URL, and make sure you guys know I have to talk about LinkedIn because that's my jam, but optimize your LinkedIn URL with a friendly URL. That's why mine is Stefanie Marrone at the end, and it doesn't have like extraneous characters. How many of you do put your blog in your e-signature, and how many of you will? Also, guys, if you have a blog, put it in your LinkedIn cover image. Go customize that. You can do that in Canva so easily. I really want you to do that. How many of you will do it? Put it in the chat. If you need help doing it, let me know. So you're going to put your blog in your LinkedIn cover image and your e-signature. And all of the things, I don't have a ton of time to talk about LinkedIn today, but you can definitely share your LinkedIn, your blog post in your LinkedIn groups. Most people aren't using LinkedIn groups effectively. And, obviously you can share your posts in other platforms, but I think LinkedIn is so helpful. I like to take pull quotes from some of my blog posts and put them on social media. So like or a statistic or something interesting. And then that is like the sexy impetus to get people interested in reading the post. And you can do like each blog post, you can do 3 different social media posts about it. I'm not going to go into social media today, but I will just tell you that it's really important. I'm going to talk a little bit about it just to make sure that you're not posting your blog content once on social. You want to do it multiple times. You can get a ton of free visibility with your content on LinkedIn, and only 1% of the 750 million people on LinkedIn are using LinkedIn to post content. And of that 1%, most people are posting subpar, boring content. When you're thinking about LinkedIn, there are three building blocks. I'm not going to get into this today, but please make sure when you're writing this content that you're educating, entertaining, informing, inspiring, and empowering people. And you can do this. You don't want to just write a post that says, I recently published a blog post on X. Make it a little more exciting. Use hashtags. I do a separate course on hashtags. If you're interested, let me know. I'll put a couple links to some upcoming programs that I'm doing in the chat also, but hashtags will help your content get discovered. And let me skip over a couple things here. You should absolutely post your blog post to the featured section on LinkedIn. So once you share a post, you can then click on the 3 little dots on the right-hand side, and then you can go put, it says like add to featured section, and that essentially adds it to the feed of on your profile at the top. And you can have a scrolling running list of as many items as you want. I have over 200 on mine, and you can remove it if you don't want it up there, but it's a great way to pin items to your profile. I've said multiple times that client alerts and blog posts are just such a great way to engage with clients and prospects, and they can lead to new business as well as media opportunities, so PR opportunities, speaking engagements, and they can help keep you top of mind with your clients and prospects. They help your Google search engine results. So when someone's looking for someone like you, you definitely have more clout. So this is why you should be doing these things. Please also add your blog post to the publication section on LinkedIn. It takes a little time to do it, but I think it's worthwhile. And it just, again, is another way to enhance your clout on LinkedIn. So I'm going to skip over a few things. I went over this. Oh, when should you post a blog post or share on LinkedIn? It's normal business commuting times, in my opinion. So anywhere from 7:30 in the morning until like 11 in the morning, and then lunchtime. I don't share anything in the afternoons, really. People are busy. They're trying to wrap up for the day. And I don't share on Fridays. I don't like to share Monday mornings either. And the weekends can be a little tricky, but sometimes you'll have luck there. If you're looking for content, guys, and you're not sure where to start, requesting a full download of your data on LinkedIn is a great place to start. This will give you every single post that you've ever posted on LinkedIn. So it's the shares section, and it's great. I got posts from 10 years ago that I was able to turn into a blog post. So you request this from LinkedIn. It takes about 48 hours, and it comes to you via email, and it's in a zip file. So I recommend you all get a copy of your data. Okay, and then here are just some things I recommend that you all do. I'll send this to Michelle to send to you guys. I'll put links. I've got a couple webinars coming up for those of you who are at small and mid-sized firms, and talking about inclusion strategies and just some other stuff. This is how you reach me. This is my LinkedIn QR code. I'm going to stop sharing. Let me put some links in here and see if there are any questions. If anybody wants me to show them anything specifically on the LinkedIn platform, I absolutely can right now. Any questions? Were there any things that you guys wanted me to go through specifically? Any questions that we have? I'm just looking. How do you determine which alt tags will get the most engagement? There are tools that you can use. You gotta, you sort of have to play around with these things. And guys, let me just take you into, can you see my screen? We've got 4 more minutes.
Yes,
Michelle?
yeah, you're good.
Okay, I'm just gonna show you guys like the back end of my site. So like, let me just take you guys in here. You guys can see this. Yeah, okay. So this is an example of, okay, so like, let me show you guys like what you would do. This is where you enter the alt tag, okay? And then I copy that, and I'm also going to put it in the description here. Okay, and that's going to help this one. You can go back and change it. Like, that's super easy to do. And for those of you, like, this is a pretty long post. So I'm going to like, just going to show you guys, like, I like to do this insert read more tag so that I don't wind up getting a ton, like it doesn't take up the whole scroll. And then you'll see here, this is like how I entered in, I've got follow me all at the bottom here. Oh, I like to add a question sometimes. Like, I'd love to hear more about like things that helps, I think, a little bit with engagement. You've got Yoast Seo built into the LexBlog platform, which helps. And like, you'll see here, so this one actually is not a good one. So maybe you don't want to use this one, but you want to play around with it. So swag items. Okay, so that's better. So we're going to do swag items, and I should have checked that out. And then you'll see here, I've got an excerpt that a lot of people don't fill this out. Another huge mistake. So you'll want to go and fill that out. Okay. And then I'll just go and hit save. See, even I make mistakes sometimes too. It's good to show you guys. Let me show you guys also browse so email notifications, browse campaigns. This is where you can set up your email newsletter through LexBlog, and you just go to browse campaigns and you can set up the cadence here. And I know we're out of time, so I will I'm going to write an article about this, but that's where you do it. So I hope this was helpful to you guys, and thankful for all of you who attended. And obviously please link in with me and follow me and follow the blog and reach out for any questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stefanie. This was all very, very helpful. And yeah, we will send out a copy of this webinar to everybody who registered, whether you attended or not. It will be up on the LexBlog social media account soon, as well as a recap post. And I know, Stefanie, you were mentioning you'll probably write something up, but it'll be very accessible. If you still, for some reason, are having trouble finding it, feel free to reach out to either me, Michelle@lexblog.com, or Stefanie, who made all of her information very available. So thank you again, Stefanie. This was really great.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for attending. Take care.
All right. Bye.